I woke up, it went up to a value of $10,000. The next day, it was $12,000. And then that Wednesday, when I woke up, it went up to $40,000 off of $400. The scammer, I was watching it live on Etherscan. He drained my wallet before I realized what was going on. I had about 15,000. These things don't happen to you, they're happening for you. And if you look at them in a different way, then that'll really help you.
Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Life Without Purse, or Życie bez gruchy. As I was explaining to Jade, what is grucha before the podcast? Today, our special guest, as I already said, Jade. She's not only a fellow Celsian, but part-time investor, writer, and devoted to all things crypto and Web3, and that's exactly what we're gonna focus on. When everyone left, everyone is panicking, everyone is scared. We have someone who's a fighter. Jade, without further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Marcin. Thanks for having me. And you forgot to mention also part Polish.
Yes, part Polish. So how could I forget about that bit? I don't know why, but 1/4 of all the Americans, they're Polish. So the Polish people did a good job here. Jade, we have an awesome agenda for today. We're going to start with your story because there's so much energy right now, so much negativity around. So many people are very scared. And I don't know how, but I see that you're fighting, you're writing articles, you're not giving up, and you're educating people and bringing more people to the space when everybody is leaving. So let's start with, maybe we're going to discover something, who you are, what's your story?
Well, I don't know how much we can get to in a few short minutes, but, I've always been passionate about investing, and, this concept of being financially free was very important to me. When I graduated from college, I went to a very expensive school. I have a fancy degree, and I was, covered with mountains of debt. The one thing I realized was they don't actually teach you, anything about money and how to be smart with money. They don't teach you how to pay for taxes. They don't teach you how to invest in real estate. So here I was, and I had just started my first job, and, I had to Google, okay, well, what do I start paying down first? What should be my financial goals? So I saw the first thing was create an emergency saving fund. So I saved up for 6 months of, my expenses. Okay, check. Then pay off your highest credit cards. Okay. Then I did that, check. Then pay off student loans, check. And so at that point I said, okay, I'm ready to start investing. So when I was 25 years old, I opened my very first brokerage account with Fidelity with $500. I spent hours and hours and hours and days and days and days figuring out what I was going to buy first. And I couldn't tell you why, but I bought 5 shares of a medical ETF. That's what I decided to buy. But I can tell you, I remember it. So, as I started to make more money and invest, and one thing that I think is very important is I had paid off all my debt. I still use cards, but I pay them off every month. Investing was something that's always very important to me. And, a lot of my peers or my girlfriends, I try to have conversations with them about it, but it was never something they were interested in. They like to spend their money on, nice handbags, nice shoes. Don't get me wrong. So do I, but I put the majority of my money into my stock investments. In 2017, like everyone did, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. That was back when you could use a credit card, of course, to buy on Coinbase. The fees were astronomical. I didn't think much of it because the next few months afterwards, every time I checked my app, I was down 90%. So then fast forward to 2020, I built up my brokerage account quite a bit. I've been having fun buying and selling stocks, but we had more free time on our hands. So I discovered options trading. And
dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. And what better way to learn options trading than on the internet and on Reddit and Wall Street Bets? So the rest of that was history for me. How do I say this? My rule of thumb was I was always going to throw $500 at whatever trade I was going to do. So half the time I'd make money on a Reddit trade, half the time I lose, which I don't know how is possible because buying a call option on anything in 2020 you should have made money on. So in January of 2021, everyone was talking about GameStop. So I said, okay, I'll throw some money at this. So it was about $500. But then they were talking more and more and more. So I bought a second one. A week later, I was up $2,000 on each option. So keep in mind, I spent $450 on one call and $300 on the second call. I had never been up this much on a trade on Wall Street bets in my life. So I said, okay, I'll sell one, let the other one ride. It was that weekend that I actually started to dive into the fundamentals and see, like, why am I up so much? What actually is going on? And that's when I learned, what is a short squeeze? What's going on? I rewatched the movie, The Big Short. The 3 days after that were absolutely insane. The one option that I had that Monday, I woke up, it went up to a value of $10,000. The next day, it was $12,000. And then that Wednesday, when I woke up, it went up to $40,000 off of $400. And by the time I could get a sell order in, I was able to sell it at 30 because it was moving so quickly. Now I understand that with GameStop and any type of short squeeze, you're not supposed to play with, options or with the perps, things of that nature. So what I did the next day when Robinhood stopped their trading and the price crashed, I took the majority of those profits and I bought shares to take them off the market. I rode that roller coaster for another 2 months, all the way down to $40 and then right back up to 300. It was a very interesting time in my life. I learned that I do not want to be a day trader. Staring at the charts all day is just not fun. It was not good for my mental health. I had no social life. I was not sleeping. I was not eating. The volatility was just a lot for me to bear. But I did come out with a very nice 67X. And a really great learning experience. It was fun to be a part of something, to be a part of movement, to feel like we were fighting for something. When we're all separated, we're nothing. But when we were able to unite together and fight back, it was just a truly incredible experience to be a part of, and just to watch on the news every day and see them talking about us and really feel like I was making a difference. It was a really special time in my life.
Wow, I have so many questions about options. Every option that I was buying, it was just going south every time. So it is very volatile and it is very, very dangerous. But it's awesome to learn. So one thing that I see is that you're very curious and you're willing to, roll the dice. And there's something that I think you're very unique, and something that a lot of people don't have is like that. And I don't know who planted that seed, so maybe you'll tell us. Like, for example, with DeFi, I mean, in my circle, I don't even know. I have a cold storage here, but in my circle, like, I don't even know who does that. Like, and like, who's learning about it, especially now in the bear market. So, who planted that, curiosity, and what's the desire in you?
Okay, that's another good question. So I'll just take you through a little bit more. So after my GameStop experience, naturally, I was bit by this bug, this adrenaline bug. So then I started day trading Dogecoin, right? Because it wasn't closed on the weekends and I was able to get that excitement. So this led me back into crypto. And if you remember back to January 2021, that's when Bitcoin was on the rise again. And so then I took some of the profits and I put it into Bitcoin, and I got much heavier into crypto, of course, near a peak. And then I started buying altcoins, things of that nature. And this is what led me to Celsius, actually. I found out, hey, there's a way that I can get, some interest on altcoins that I want to hold for the long term. Now, I really want to credit Celsius with being, I call it my gateway drug into DeFi.
Gateway drug.
Yeah, it really was, because it's such a good intersection between, CeFi and DeFi. You're getting a lot of the elements without, I don't want to say taking on the risk, but the self-custody is scary and there are a lot of risks. So at one point in, I believe it's April 2021, I had the vast majority of my money on the Celsius platform. And it was fun to take advantage of all those, entry bonuses and things of that nature. As far as what bit the bug for DeFi, that just opened my curiosity. I think, like you said before, I've always been a very curious.
Oh, totally. So who planted that? Because that was the question. Or do you where did you pick it up? Do you remember any references? I don't know, parents, teachers, friends.
So that's a good question. I have one friend in real life who's into crypto that I met by accident, and he was really into DeFi Summer and really into Olympus DAO, Ohm, and the Ohm forks. And so we would, kind of talk about these things. And so as he started to get a little bit into, yield farming and LPs, I suppose this wouldn't have been until later on in the year. I kind of got into it, but then, based off this one friend, he told me I actually went a lot more degen than he did, because I started taking loans against my wrapped Bitcoin. Then I got into Luna, things of that nature. I'm also, good friends with a lot of people that were very heavy into Luna, and we have a big group chat. But as far as my first experience into DeFi, I think it really was Celsius. And then when you're interested about something and you start talking about it, I think the universe kind of guides you to more people. So I was just so excited about crypto and DeFi. Whenever I talk about it, other people who were into it, they would respond. And then I would just pick up little nuggets, of information. So I don't think it was necessarily one person, but maybe a combination of factors that got me to this point.
Right. But I was in that myself, and I wasn't, that sort of into it. I was learning about, like, from the software point of view, because I have a software business, and I was, a lot of my friends actually are into DeFi, and from the technical point of view, like investing as well, but from the technical point of view, and that's, that's something that I just don't understand, like, because that's energy, that energy is sort of created, like, I don't know, you created that, or it's through whatever snowball effect that went into that. Like, you just went so massively into that I don't know many people like you that you've actually managed to do that. So maybe let's go back before that, before 2020 and all our celebrity virus and everything. Let's maybe go back before that event. Do you remember any instances in your life that you were like so into something?
I go through phases where I'm a very passionate, excitable person. And when there's something that gets my interest, then, I just put my everything to it. So I think a good example was with the options trading. It really took over my life, for the majority of 2020. Some people learned a new language, some people started a new business. That's what I did. And that had my focus on, I need to learn to channel this energy into, learning to cook very healthy meals and doing Pilates every single day, or, learning to run 10 miles. But I think I'm just fascinated by this technology and where we go. And I love the idea that I think we're still early enough in this space that there's opportunities for our generation to find like great, financial success. When I was thinking about where to invest my money, real estate was at all-time highs. I understand it's coming down a bit now. The stock market, is extremely high. And we don't have the same opportunities that our parents' generation had before us. And, did I buy Bitcoin in 2011? No. I'm not going to have those returns. Do I still think that it's going to be a profitable investment? Yes. But I think the future with DeFi is still young, and the people that are here now and taking the time to learn and educate themselves are going to be on the forefront. I have a lot of good friends that work in traditional finance, and a lot of them don't even invest in the stock market. It's fascinating. They're just terrified of it because they don't understand. And I think, one of the things that's holding people back from DeFi is, they're scared. They don't understand. They listen to the media. They hear one crazy headline about how someone was hacked for, $100,000. And yes, these things happen, but there are ways to protect yourself, and education is key.
And you're a fighter, and you're not scared.
I have no choice because the alternative, when I first got wrecked really hard back in May on Luna and UST, and then again when Celsius caused withdrawals, I did go through a very serious state of depression. This was the hardest financial thing that I've had to overcome in my adult life that I couldn't blame anyone for. This was solely myself. And so I definitely licked my wounds, and I honored my grief, but I was sick of being sad. And, I believe there is a reason that I have these experiences happen to me, and it's going to set me up for something so much better. And it's really sad to see a lot of people leave the space, they're so brokenhearted. They're so sick. And I can't tell anyone what to do. But a lot of my friends, they won't talk about crypto at all. I had one experience. We were talking on the phone and he said, I don't want to talk about crypto. Don't talk to me about crypto. He asked what I was doing. And I said, oh, well, I had a job interview for something in crypto. And he hung up the phone on me. So like the wounds are there, the PTSD is there. So what I want to do is just recommit to the space to learn every day. And, maybe a part of that is sharing what I know and what I've learned. And I have made a lot of mistakes because I didn't have anyone that I could look to, that I could trust. So speaking about energy, that's an idea that I'm playing with and perhaps sharing that with the community.
So you do have a lot of energy now, and I see there's some sort of mission, and you see something, and then you have some energy that a lot of people don't, because it is for a reason that that people do not want to talk about it, and you do, and there is a lot of value. It is a very just because we're going through this roller coaster, there is a lot of value, because otherwise there wouldn't be so many VCs and money flowing into that. And we'll talk about macro backdrop at the end of the video. But for now, let's go into like that energy that you took and put into creating videos, creating articles. So you're writing content, you're active on social media. And that's how I got to know you. And that's branding to me. And I'm like, wow, there is so much energy. You're being seen by the community, by the people who are involved, investors, depositors, and I'm like, how can we take that energy, because we have something in common, we invested both in the same thing, and I'm like, how can we both take that energy and then and I can actually contribute, and we can create something for other people that they can then watch and go back to. So my next question is leading to the Celsius fiasco and what happened with the holding withdrawals. What's the lesson from that? And I know that you were like, I think you had the cold wallet, which maybe you can explain briefly what's cold wallet, hot wallet. Before, I think you had it before Celsius, halted withdrawals.
I created one after I used Celsius, but
okay,
I can explain.
So let's focus on that fiasco. Like, why did they hold withdrawals? What's the lesson from that, and the solutions?
So a lot of people ask me, hey, you're big into DeFi. You know the perils of centralized finance versus DeFi. You have a ledger. How could you even be in this position in the first place? So my answer is DeFi and personal custody and holding your own keys is absolutely terrifying. And I know this because I made probably the worst mistake you can possibly make in August of last year. I had a MetaMask wallet. I did not have a ledger. I didn't even know what a ledger was. I fell for a scam on Discord, and I connected my wallet to a fake Wallet Connect website. I watched in horror as the scammer, I was watching it live on Etherscan. He drained my wallet before I realized what was going on. I had about 15,000 USD dollars worth of stuff. All of my own, all of my fun ERC20s was just gone. At the time, that was the most painful lesson that had ever happened to me. And now I'm like 15K, whatever. I mean, not whatever to 15K, but just in comparison to what's happened to me since. Yeah. And I thought I would never recover it from it. So the lesson in that was don't play with things that you don't fully understand. So I took some time. I made sure that I researched and understood everything I could know about DeFi, crypto, and security. I bought a ledger and I said, I'm not going to get back into the space unless I do this right. Yeah. So then fast forward, after that experience, I wanted to make sure, just in case I ever lost my private keys or had an experience like that again, or I authorized a bad transaction on my ledger, and the worst case, there was some event, where my wallet got compromised again. I wanted to have a little bit of Bitcoin somewhere else where I was not fully responsible, like my just in case, my backup, knowing, and I just wasn't going to touch it. And one day, in 10 years from now, it'd be worth a pretty penny. That was aligned with my comfort zone. So at the time, I had a lot more of my money like in Terra Station on Luna and UST, and I had a little bit in Celsius. So I left, a small amount of my Bitcoin on Celsius. Okay, I get 5-6%. It's easy. I don't have to worry about it. HODL mode. This is great. Unfortunately, I got wrecked on Luna and Terra. So the amount that I had on Celsius at Bitcoin is now a much bigger part of my portfolio instead of that small failsafe. And then, of course, Celsius halted withdrawals too. Should I have seen this coming? Yes, I absolutely should have seen it coming. There was a huge domino effect with 3AC and the Luna and Terra collapse. And I should have known that, the withdrawals were coming soon. But again, I was in, such a state of depression that I kind of wasn't paying attention to anything for a couple of weeks. I could have protected myself. I should have withdrawn my money from Celsius, but I didn't. Here we are. I do believe there's a reason that I didn't. And, I'm here in this community now. It's given me a lot of strength. And hopefully I've been able to contribute in my own way as well. Moving forward, I think there's still a lot of risks with CeFi and DeFi. We really do need a product like Celsius. I'll just give you a quick story. I know I'm rambling a bit. Yeah. My dad has been hodling some Ethereum.
Your dad? So who converted him into crypto?
He actually bought that of his own volition, some investment newsletter that he read. So he owns some Ethereum and some Chainlink. Long story short, he just had it on Coinbase, no 2-factor authentication, nothing. And I was like, okay, you got to do something about it. And so for months I said, hey, maybe you should put this on a ledger, or hey, maybe you should, we should do some of this on here. So a couple months ago, he was like, hey, you don't have any money on that Celsius place, do you? And I was like, well, yeah, Dad, actually, I do. And there's a good chance I may never see it again.
Right.
So he's like, I think I'm ready to get that ledger now and do the cold storage you were talking about. So it took a year and me getting wrecked on Celsius for him to finally realize. So, at the time, it's very hard to understand, why this happened to me. But if I look at the bigger picture, after that, it took me an entire afternoon, but I got my dad set up on a ledger and cold storage. We both had massive amounts of brain damage afterwards, and he drank 3 tequilas to get over the experience, but we did it and he's now safe. And so I just wonder how many others are in that experience now and they're going to protect themselves and do self-custody. So just really interesting when you start to look at things from a different perspective. So that gave me a little bit of positivity.
And you tweeted something that I loved, because I look from the psychological point of view, from the business point of view, and from the business point of view, I like the tweet that you mentioned that Celsius was a product. It was a great sort of gateway into DeFi or crypto in general, and that we need a product like that. And now you mentioned about a solution that I really liked, and you said, hey, whoever is gonna be able to solve this problem of actually bridging DeFi, right, and CeFi is gonna take a lot of market share. So maybe you can elaborate on that tweet.
I don't know what the solution looks like, but I think if there was a DeFi alternative to Celsius, or, there's a lot of engineers and coders much smarter than me, but we need a very easy, user-friendly DeFi version of Celsius. And whoever comes up with this and the infrastructure, and gets there first and is really good about education and has really good how-to content and makes people feel comfortable with the experience, I think they'll use it. And that's basically it. There are a lot of people that I would say are crypto curious, like my dad, who, they own crypto on Robinhood, on Coinbase, on all these centralized exchanges, and they want to explore DeFi, right? Because they hear about all these stories. But what holds them back is they're terrified of experiences like what happened to me, as they should be. I have had a wallet hacked.
You've experienced all of it.
I've experienced all of it.
All of the events.
So their fears are valid. But what I tell them is, you've had the worst possible thing happen to you by holding your funds in CeFi. Celsius halted withdrawals, and Voyager and a couple other ones. Your funds aren't safe either. So, it's kind of like pick your poison at this point, but ultimately DeFi is going to be the safer alternative until CeFi comes out with, a business model that's going to be more sustainable. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't think it's going to happen during the bear market. One thing, this is my first time experiencing a real bear market, and they say you just need to survive. I did not understand what that meant when they said survive, but it's really hard. It's not just, not losing your money in terms of valuation. It's actually losing your money. Like I had Luna go to zero. I had Celsius halt my withdrawals. My Bitcoin is there. I just can't access it. It's just been a truly fascinating learning experience.
And you're still here. You're fighting. You're showing up. You're creating content. You're actually educating people. And I love your videos, short videos on YouTube. You guys can go and then see. Actually, you show them, how to go and buy something into DeFi. How to do it on Ledger and things like that. So I wish you continue and educate people, because I think this is your role. Because like you've got this feminine energy that you can bring. And that's my question, by the way, to you is, what do you think, or what do we need to do collectively to increase that adoption?
The first thing I would say is education. I think that if people are more informed and educated and they feel safe in the space, then they will come. And I think the big reason why the how-to videos are important to me, the reason that I was on Discord and fell for the scam in the first place was because I was trying to figure out something that I didn't know what I was doing. I think I was trying to stake or unstake Ohm, I think. And if there had been a video that I could follow through and watch and say, oh, this pause is natural, or, oh, this is supposed to happen, then I would have never, been on Discord and fell for that scam in the first place. And I really want to prevent people from having that experience. And then, the other thing about kind of the feminine energy that you were saying, crypto is very much dominated by men. And as a woman, and maybe as a guy as well, it's intimidating to want to ask questions and ask for help. I think to myself, I should know the answer to this. I don't want to embarrass myself by not knowing. So I think a lot of people hold back, and then they end up making very costly mistakes. So I hope to be a resource so that people can ask those questions. I really don't want them to make the same mistakes that I have, because they've been very painful. And so hopefully we can help with education and usher in the next era of retail users. And I think that you and I, for sticking around, we will be very handsomely rewarded.
Amen to that. And I want to see a few hundred videos when we go to the next bull market. Cryptoismyjam on YouTube, by the way. So that leads me to what's the current project? What are you focusing on now?
What am I focusing on now? Well, I have to tell you, everything and anything to do with Celsius has taken up a lot of my time. It's been a very interesting summer, learning more about short squeezes and writing articles and things of that nature. And then focusing a lot on this chapter 11 and, learning about what the restructuring plans are, things of that nature. It's been a lot. It's been a lot to follow. But I'd say that's what's taken up the majority of my time right now. I did meet some great founders when I was in Austin, Texas at Consensus.
I was there.
Were you? Oh my
yes,
God.
Of course.
So I met a lot of great people there, and, their projects are all incredible. So, I'm starting to look into that and some opportunities there. But right now, just learning everything I can about the space, staying up to date on the news and figuring out how to educate myself. And then, I think I want to look into maybe, creating more content and making people more comfortable. And as far as buying new projects, I'm not really allocating any funds to anything at this time. I do have a small amount in Cell token, and I have a bit in Bitcoin, and then Rune or Thorchain. That's my other altcoin that I have. It's a project that I like, which actually is an interesting intersection between DeFi and centralized finance, but that's a topic for another conversation. But I'm not actively buying anything right now.
So you're learning and educating people, and I think you're a great beacon of actually actually showing what you go through when you invest. When you invest into something new, and then and show people your passion, and that's I think also that from this energy you can build it into a brand that's very authentic in this space. You say, hey, look, I've been there. I've gone through all the errors, all the mistakes that you can do. You don't trust me? Go on YouTube and then see everything, And then because of that, you can use that energy. It's very therapeutic, also in a way. So that's awesome. So we'll put the poll. So we have a poll from Twitter that you did, and you asked people whether they. What was the question? Because I don't remember exactly.
So this was something that was very fascinating to me. So in order to participate in the Celsius short squeeze, you need to have, a private custody wallet, like a MetaMask, for example. You needed to swap for Cell token, which is an ERC20 coin, on a Uniswap or on MetaMask itself. And then you needed to set limit orders on 1inch finance. These are pretty advanced DeFi protocols. Yeah. Now, for the majority of Celsius users, I am going to assume that they've never used DeFi before, right? Because if they use DeFi, they probably wouldn't be using Celsius and they wouldn't have their funds locked in the first place, right? So I made a poll and I said, if you're a Celsius user, how many of you guys are using DeFi for the first time just to participate in the Celsius short squeeze? And it was over 30%. And I just thought that was absolutely fantastic, that it took, a situation like this, people wanted to participate, in this, movement, if you want to call it. And it took, that passion in order to learn these really advanced protocols. And that also told me if these people have never used DeFi before, they need help. So that's why I went ahead and I started to make the how-to videos. And I have to tell you, I had some people say, thank you so much for this. I've never used DeFi before. Because of you, I was able to set up these limit orders and things of this nature. And that feedback makes me feel better than when I was at the top of the Luna bull market, whatever, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, like that personal validation and knowing that I'm giving back and I'm helping people, that makes me feel better than anything. So it's been a really tough summer. Financially, I've been getting over, this depression stage, but finding a way to give back and helping people, that actually has helped me a bit selfishly.
On that happy note, last question and final thoughts from you. You already mentioned that you are not actively investing into anything, not going super degen at this time, just a little bit. But given you're based in the US, just like I am. I mean, I'm European, but I moved here like 2 years ago, but you just came back from Europe. So did I. And what's your, not looking at the media, not looking at anything, that sort of, we have this whole agenda that's scaring us. Just from your pure experience and then your feeling, looking at everything around, what's your outlook for the macro? Do you think we're going to recover quick or what's your current take right now?
So just in terms of the market as a whole?
Just general, not just the crypto market, in general, looking at everything.
Just the sense that I get and from the people that I follow, I don't think the macro is going to be good for a little while to come. I think that cash is king. The one TA guy that I do follow is Ben Cowan into the Cryptoverse. I do subscribe to his premium list. That's where I get a lot of my macro information. I highly, highly recommend that you guys check him out. Most people on YouTube are just,
Ben is awesome. Yeah.
Ben is great. So, I don't think we're going to, be off to a bull market anytime soon. So I want to sit back and just focus on stacking cash and doing research and evaluating certain things and then repositioning my life. So that way I'm ready for when the bull market continues. But no, I'm not expecting anything anytime soon. I think there's other people that can give you a more detailed answer as to why, but this is just the sense that I get.
And final thoughts to finish this off? What's your summary of all of that?
Final thoughts. I think that it's really great to have a conversation with someone about crypto and DeFi and Web3. I don't get a lot of this in my real life. It's fun. I thank you for letting me.
Yeah, you can call me. You can call me anytime. Hey, Marcin, do you want to talk about new DGen 100X? I'm like, yeah, sure. What is that?
It's become a really big part of my life, and I really enjoy it so much. And, I think people look at me and they don't understand that really I'm just this big nerd that I go to work and then I come home and I'm reading white papers and I'm on crypto Twitter. So God knows what time. And I'm just trying to learn and research and find the alpha and try to now find ways to give back and provide value in certain ways. And I really thank you for giving me this platform and to have a conversation and just share a little bit about me, and to everyone that's, hurting right now and going through a tough time because your money is locked in Celsius and there's so many unknowns, or, because you lost money on Luna and UST, like I did also, or just because the market, is absolutely in the toilet right now. I think that it's going to be okay. I really do. But you just have to find ways to look at these situations from a different perspective. Someone told me it's not, these things don't happen to you, they're happening for you. And if you look at them in a different way, then that'll really help you, get through each day. Try to stay away from that victim mentality. I know it. I was in it. I want to be a warrior, but it's hard. Each day you have to wake up and choose to commit to that and move forward. But ultimately it'll lead to a better life, and you'll keep smiling and you'll find reasons to go on. So many people have left the crypto space, a lot of my good friends included, and you have stuck around. You are here. You will be rewarded. Those same people are going to come back when Bitcoin hits all-time highs again, and they're going to be so sorry. But you were here. You did the work. No one is allowed to tell you that you got lucky. So that's my 2 cents for today.
Awesome. I love the positive energy, and then and I see that you've done a lot of work over the last few months, and that's just manifesting. So crypto is my jam. I was gonna ask you during the podcast, where does it come from? So maybe just a short story, and you tell us, because that's gonna lead them to your social media and your website and all the platforms. So maybe you can tell us the origin of that, awesome nickname, or just the name of your brand, or.
I wish I could tell you that there was some really great story. I didn't, when I first made the username, I really wasn't thinking so far ahead that this could turn into anything or a personal brand. My little sister, she's a very, Gen Z TikTok-y type. So I said, hey, what's a fun, what do you think is a fun, type of username? And so we were, bantering back and forth, like, finance is my jam, this and that. She said something is my jam. I was like, oh, that's it. Crypto is my jam. And crypto has not been my jam the last couple of months. It's not been good to me, but I do believe at the end of the day that sticking with it, crypto will be my jam again. And I hope to continue to share that with others.
So where do people go to find you? Obviously YouTube, we'll link that. Twitter, that's the one that I know. Any other social media that you want to share?
Yeah, I'm most active on Twitter, and then I'm starting to post a little bit more content on YouTube. And then I also have a Medium where I have started to write some articles as well. I have a link tree that has links to all of them, and then a couple of articles I've been featured in. Forbes reached out to me to do an interview. That was a pretty crazy thing. I was interviewed by Forbes for getting wrecked, so that's a pretty cool life achievement. But anyway, yeah, the link tree is a great place to start as well. So thank you so much for sharing that with people. Energy,
so just use it. And I know you tweeted about it. I haven't seen the tweet, and I'm like, that's we were talking before the recording, like what we're gonna do with all of that agenda that we have here. And so I think you're gonna just get so many women into the space, and just so many people comfortable with, because you've gone through something that that other people don't have to. So you're like the trailblazer. Jade, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you. And then I look forward to meeting you maybe on another consensus or somewhere in California.
Absolutely.
Or Las Vegas, who knows?
Oh, Vegas, definitely. Thank you so much. This was great fun.
Thank you.
Życie bez gruchy. Jedyny życiowy podcast w Polsce stworzony dla geeków.